What's up, everyone, and welcome to
Let's Have
Cocktails. Woo! So, hello, everyone, and welcome to our episode today, Raising a Family.
Yes. Good topic.
Having these badass kids. But of course, we're going to get into the Roxy before starting. So, Roxy.
We
Roxy.
call her Roxy.
Roxy.
That's not my name. Thanks.
This is how strong her drinks are, y'all.
Yes.
Alright. So today we had a drink from the Tipsy Bartender, which is called the Matador, in which you have to chill your champagne glass, add 2 ounces of tequila, which you know I'm a little heavy-handed, a half an ounce of fresh lime juice, 3 ounces of pineapple juice, shake it up, put it in a champagne glass, and garnish it with some pineapple wedges. In which today we did, you know, do a little little one out the can, but it's okay. It is good, but it is strong as shit.
It's really good. It's really good, y'all.
Slow it down because we already have had other recipes, so you know.
Slow down. Okay, well, thank you, Roxy.
For the Roxy.
And it is good, and it is strong.
It is very delicious.
I need some water.
Oh, yeah, I got mine. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Raising a family, different, things that we have to consider and think about as lesbian and gay. And also, as we had in episode 9, we still have our guest, Mr. Eric.
It's our boo, y'all. It's our
He
boo.
come in with that sexy voice.
Right.
Hey, what's going on? Love it. Okay, so let's start off with talking about healthcare or the lack thereof within our jobs, to start a family. So has Roxy, I'll start with you because you have a little more experience than us.
Yeah, because I have dealt with this in my last job. For the majority of the time that I worked there, they did not offer any type of benefits for, gay or lesbian couples. This very last year, they finally started to offer infertility treatments, and I was laid off the very second month of the year. So it was like, I told them that too. So I was like, I'm wondering, like, did they let me go because they knew I was about to cost them a bunch of money? But it's very far-fetched for the insurance. It really is, because it's very hit or miss. Most companies, well, a lot of companies, I won't say most, because a lot of companies are coming on to the idea of, the LGBT community and everything. But a lot of companies do not offer assistance when it comes to, procreating.
I will say, because I'm more so into adopting, and I have noticed with my last 2 jobs that they did offer a lot of assistance within our insurance for the adoption process. Even you get paid time off once you adopt to allow you time with your child. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Anybody else? Have y'all ever looked into those things with your job's insurance?
I haven't. I looked into it, but I would say that I would admit that I'm ignorant in that subject area of knowing what to look for in my insurance policy that tells me specifically I qualify for, in fertilization or IVF, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know the terminology, and that's 100% my fault. But my job does offer, if you do adopt a child, they will fly you to the location of adoption. They will fly you and the child back home, and they would allow you and the other parent, if they work for, so if both parents, if they work for this company, are both allowed X amount of days off after the initial adoption.
Okay.
That's good. Eric, Nikki, do y'all have anything, or have y'all ever looked into it?
I looked into it. My job only offers like adoption assistance, so I guess they will help you out with lawyer fees and stuff like that. But it didn't really go into detail on exactly what it covers. So that's pretty much as far as I got with it.
Okay.
My job offers same-sex insurance and coverage for adoption and fertility treatments, but I haven't looked into it because it was one thing, like at the time I wasn't there as far as like, you know, where I was at in the stage of my life, so I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
Interesting. I guess that's something that I will start looking into going forward because I'm not getting any younger.
Right.
And I ultimately do want children. I guess that should be a question to ask. Does everybody want children?
I definitely do want at least a child.
Oh, girl, I thought you were about to say 8.
Right.
I thought you were about to say A too.
Singular. As in a child. But if I had twins, I'm not too opposed to it because I really do not feel that my body can carry twice. Like, I'm getting older, in which I'm not old, but I just feel like I be having too many things going on right now with my body. I think one time is good enough.
Yeah, I want kids. I can go for 2. I'll go with 1, but I would love to have 2. I think that'd be awesome.
Do you want to carry?
Why
Why
That
not?
is not my preference.
Why not?
Let me tell you, when I was a kid, when I was like, I don't know how, like 16, 17, my best friend at the time, I went to visit her at the hospital. I got stuck there. I walked in and sat down. The doctor walked in behind me and said, Mrs., her name, we're about to induce you.
Okay.
And then I picked up the phone, called her baby daddy and her mama and her sister. I said, y'all come on down here to Jackson, Mississippi. And they was like, okay, Ashley, we on the way. Okay, 4 or 5 hours later, they went there. Doctor came in. I saw the tools they used to induce her. That long tube with the balloon on the end. And they inserted it inside her. And they blew it up.
Oh, God.
It made me scream. I saw the baby come out. I said, that ain't for me. That ain't for me. But you know what? I'm all about if, you know what I'm saying, my significant other want to have a kid, let's go. If she want to adopt, I would prefer to adopt young because I feel, I will adopt older too because I know there are kids in need, but I also would like to adopt young so I can instill, me and my partner can instill those morals and values in them early.
So like how old?
Too old or
Like what's too old?
I would say, man, I don't know. I would say after like their elementary stage, because I feel like once they become, I don't want to discourage anybody from adopting an older child, but I think that it'll be harder to instill, change their mentality after they've been through, in the world and through so much.
And a lot of people actually think like that. A lot of my internships in college, I dealt with foster care children. And that is why, and maybe it's from my experience with them, that I would be very much so open to adopting older children.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of times they do have problems, but if you take into consideration the different, like if you were tossed around from different foster home, and some of these foster parents, they don't care about these children.
They don't.
And the things that they experience, that's what make them. But I've also I've worked with children who got adopted when they were like 16 or 17. One girl in particular that got adopted when she was a senior in high school, and I remember her going to college. One of the things that she said in like a letter that she wrote back, saying that how much it meant to her to have a mother with her as she was setting up her dorm. Because things that we don't think about. You know what I'm saying? Like when people get dropped off at college, you see it in the movies or you see it with yourself, and because once you turn 18 as a foster kid, that's it. Whatever you have on you, they give you a few dollars, which is why a lot of foster kids go into the military sometimes. That's it. You're out there. And if nobody prepared you or prepped you, like if you got ready for college on your own, you just setting up everything on your own. So she was like, she remembered just crying because when she looked at her room, her mom, her adoptive mother, had set up her room, you know, and that just meant a lot to her because she never saw that in her life. She never saw that happening.
Yeah, I would say I experienced it a little bit. I don't want to say that is equal to somebody that adopted a child, but I took on my nephew when he was like 12, and I moved him states over from Mississippi to South Carolina, and having him, I and him both experienced so many things that he never. Going to the movies, going to the skating rink, you know, like, and then the traumas that he had been through trying to break that wall down, you know what I'm saying? But in the end, it was worth it, you know, going through that with him.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like stuff like that. I think I'm okay with being even a mother-like figure because I'm not gonna say that it won't be difficult adopting an older child because they have definitely come into themselves. They've experienced a lot more than you probably did at that age. Yes. So they're a lot more mature. Some of them have experienced some very traumatic things that you have to think about. So you have to be patient. So that's something to take into consideration. But like I said, a lot of our decisions at this age are based on our prior experiences. So I think for me, because I have literally worked, you know, on hand with these children, I would be open to doing that. But I can totally understand people that say, no, that's not for me. I don't want to adopt. Because it is a lot. I won't say. It's me just working with them was a lot. So imagine being a parent to them. So, but, I mean, moving forward, Roxy, you were saying that was something that you were looking into. Yeah. So what about infertility, like treatments and things like that?
My job at the time did not cover any infertility treatments. At the time when I was looking into it, they did not cover that. So that would be something completely out of pocket.
It's pretty expensive, isn't it?
It really is. And then people don't think about the fact that for same-sex women, we have to think about the sperm. It has to come in from somewhere. And so we have to look into donors. When we go to donors, that's the whole thing. Like, do you get somebody that you know? Do you get somebody that you don't know? It's so many options. And so for me, I didn't know anybody that I wanted to father my child. And so it was automatically a donor. And when you go into looking into donors, oh my God, it's so many out there. You have to go through all these profiles and everything. And the more information that you want about the person, the more you have to pay. So really? The basic information that they allow you to have is like their genetic testing and stuff like that. The basic things. You don't have a picture of them. You don't have anything. So I'm supposed to just pick you as a father to my child with the basic knowledge. And so for me, I want to dig deeper. So it's very, very costly because when you go to the doctor, they tell you that you need at least 3 to 4 vials on hand.
3 to 4 what?
3 to 4 vials of the sperm. So you have to buy by vial. So pretty much by deposit. They go in, they leave something. We go in, well, you need it, you know. And so the doctor would tell you that you need to get like 3 to 4 starting out. And those can cost at the minimum like $500 if you don't want more information, up to like thousands of dollars.
Wow.
And
so part-time job.
Right.
But then you say that they also test your genetics to match well with somebody else's genetics?
Yes.
Or
And
something.
so basically, I had genetic testing done on myself, and it revealed that I have a trait of anemia. So I don't need to choose a male that has the same trait because it's almost inevitable that the child will have the same trait. And so I have to look out for that trait when picking a donor. And so it just gets really, really deep. It's very, 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 very pricey, especially if you start to think about, I want a boy or I want a girl. That's even deeper because it's IVF, where they'll take the egg and they'll take his sperm, fertilize it, then they have to do genetic testing before they reinsert it back into you. And honey, it can get so pricey. And I was just like, so we just gonna wait till next year. Because it's just a lot. You have to think about so much.
Just you talking about it, I'm like, look.
So you're saying
talking
people
about
can.
college tuition before you even.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm sitting here thinking to myself, who can I suffer through and just lay down with? You know?
So are you saying that people can actually pick the sex of the child?
Yeah, you can. You can pick. Well, the thing is, they fertilize the eggs with the sperm that you get, and then they can test the ones that they have and see if they're male or female, and then they can insert the ones that you want.
Okay.
And it's not guaranteed that those will even take.
Right.
And that's the thing about it, is that you spend all this money, thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's no guarantee.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I'm just like, can y'all at least try about 3 times
Right.
before we just exit out? But
Yeah.
no, that's just paying for one round. And so it gets really, really pricey.
Now I see why people say like it can take an extreme emotional toll on you.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
So, for you guys, and anybody that wants to have children, when picking a donor, would you prefer to pick an anonymous donor? Would you prefer to pick a donor where the child can know their identity off the top at the age of 18? Or would you prefer to have somebody that you know personally donate?
I would say, and like I say, this is probably based on my experience dealing with older foster children. I would probably want to deal with someone that I know, because when that child gets older, and think about yourself, like when you go through a certain period of time where you're just trying to find out who you are, learning yourself, those children normally come back and they want to know so much about themselves. And to tell a child, well, you know, I had an anonymous donor, so I don't really know anything.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I think in this process, we're thinking, it's no offense to anyone, but it can almost turn into a selfish process.
Yeah.
Because you're just thinking about what I want to do, and not thinking about that child when that child get older and they come to you with questions.
Yeah.
Like, well, where did I come from? I know I get this from you and your side of the family, but what about this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And things like that. So I think I would want to either pay the extra money to know about the donor, or choose someone that I know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I would choose either one of those two options because, like you said, it's a process that you want to be perfect for yourself and your partner, but you also have to think about your child. Like, I want my child to be able to get the answers to the question that they will have once they become of age.
Exactly.
Like, you can also pick donors that are open to children reaching out once they get to a certain age. Not to say that they will still be alive or whatever, but you know, you can choose a donor that is open to an open process.
Yeah.
So what about you, Nikki?
Me personally, I don't feel like I'm at that point in my life right now. Like, even with my current situation, like, my girlfriend has a child. I feel like I'm good with that. But, you know, we have an option of having another baby. Because it's still on the new part, I'm not really sure about, trying to have another baby.
So you're saying like overall, even before the relationship, this is just not a topic that you thought about, like you didn't consider.
I mean, like to me, it never mattered to me. I was never one that was like, oh, I gotta have a child to feel this type of way, or I need to have a child for this.
Yeah.
To me, it was just like, if it happened, it happened. I was never one to like push the thing like, oh, I need to have a child in my life, because I have nephews that I've had, that I spend a lot of money on. So to me, it was like, oh, they practically are my kids. So, I don't really look into it.
Well, I have
and
that
think about it.
too, but I still feel that.
It's nothing like your own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
see,
that
like,
I
you
still
have that-
want that
Your own
unconditional love from my own child that I spit out, either through
Yeah.
a cut or
Yeah, see,
my vagina.
like you know what I'm saying? Like you want that feeling. Me, I know that I don't want to go through 9 months of being pregnant and doing it myself.
I really don't
Like
know myself.
if my partner had said, hey, if you want to have a child, you have until, 38 or 39, something like that. So I'm like, okay, but me, I feel like we have a cutoff point of like 35. Because, you run into all these health risks. I wouldn't want to put her through that, and that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. So what about, Eric, you being a male, and how do you feel about even considering like donating your sperm to the sperm bank, or to friends, because you have a lot of lesbian friends? Like how does that make you feel, and would you want contact with that child?
Well, first, the sperm bank, I couldn't do.
Yeah.
I couldn't have the idea of having a kid out there and me not having any connection with or any attachment to.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It would always bug me wondering, okay, is there another little Eric out there running around?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
looking just like me and everything, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, though, if a friend asked me to be a sperm donor, I don't know how to do that either, because I don't want the kid to grow up and be completely confused about what's going on. You have parents over here, parents over there.
Yeah.
It would be a discussion as to how we proceed with how we're going to raise the kid. You want me involved in the kid? Am I the cool uncle on the side? Who am I?
Yeah.
So there are so many questions that you would have to ask to figure out.
Like, would
How
you
you
tell the child if you're the father?
Right.
Or,
How would you do that?
So, would you be open? Like, let's say a lesbian friend came to you and was like, would you be open to us, like you being the sperm donor, I'm carrying the child, and we co-parent?
A couple years ago, I was like, no. But now in my 40s, I'm like, yeah.
What
Because
changed?
I guess getting older, and one thing that really changed for me is I was at work one day and I saw a guy walking with his kid, and the kid looked just like him. I'm like, damn, how does that feel to have a little mini me running around, something that's part of my DNA, something that's me.
Yeah.
And it kind of changed my whole, perspective on wanting kids or not. Yeah, I have nephews and nieces, and I take care of them, but it's not the same. I love them to death, but it's not like I don't have that same connection that I would have with something that's me, my DNA, something that's part of me.
Exactly.
It's funny to hear y'all say that, because I'm like the total opposite. I mean, I won't get too deep into it, but I have several reasons why I do not want to birth a child, but that's one of them. I don't want a child that's like me and experiences something. I mean, and not just, I'm not saying like as far, I'm just saying like things that I deal with personally and stuff. And things that I've seen with my mother, her mother, or things like that. I don't want that.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, I would love to see a child that looked like me, because I love the way I look. But, as far as that, I don't want that coming, knowing that it came from me.
So,
But
okay.
I mean, like, wouldn't it be like, just, raising your child in, like, as far as like be the change you want to see?
But some things, like when it comes
Genetics.
to mental health, some things you can't avoid.
I mean, I guess.
And I don't want to pass that on.
Would that make you be more picky with choosing a donor?
Absolutely.
Yeah. it would make
Wanting to
me-
know more about that person?
Absolutely.
And this may sound weird, like even if I did it with like a guy friend, like if I adopted, or if I would adopt a child knowing that they have certain issues. but it's not coming from me, because I feel like I would feel guilty.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah,
Because because you can adopt a child with mental health issues, right? But
Yes.
you're okay with accepting that because you didn't give it to that child.
exactly. And I know that sounds like
That's a little deep.
weird, but
No, I never thought about it like that.
I never ever
Yeah.
thought about it.
I would feel guilty.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, I will say, in going through the whole donor situation, because I have looked for a donor, and it is TTS. Oh my gosh, like it in picking someone that you absolutely don't have any connection to at all. You don't be around them, you don't see them. They're you don't know their personality. You feel like they can put anything on paper,
Yeah, that's true.
And so you are so particular when it comes to anything. Anything that comes up that you don't like, it's like, okay, next. And so, I don't know. I think it prolongs the process for us as, lesbians, because we keep putting it off. Like, oh, you know what? My insurance didn't line up this year.
Yeah.
My funds didn't line up this year. Let me just push it back another year.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you 38, 39, and still having a conversation about if you want to have children.
Exactly.
Whereas I truly, wholeheartedly believe if I was straight by now, I would have had at least one.
That's what I be thinking. I be
At
like,
least one or two.
Lord, why you ain't give me one when I was busting it wild?
Girl.
So here's my question for you though.
Okay.
Like, does it feel weird to look through a catalog to pick your kids from?
It feels
'Cause
extremely
that's how it sounds
weird.
like it'd be weird.
It's weird because you have to go from, oh, what kind of eyes does he have? What kind of nose does he have? What color hair does he have? It's like,
What does it tell you
It's
about
not-
like their mental health issues?
it does.
You got to pay for
You
it,
have
right?
to pay for
pay
different
for this.
levels of information.
Information, yeah.
You can also pay up all the way up until an adult picture of him. But by the time you do that, that's like $400 or $500 just
For
for the
one person.
information.
On
For
one
one
person.
person.
And see, for me, I would just be thinking like, even if I get that information, did they run tests?
Right.
Did they do evaluations, like psych evals on these
They
people?
do.
Or is this just information that people provided on a form?
What's the basic information that you get on there?
The basic information is stuff like, their age. You'll also get to know if they have like been a donor for other successful moms. Yeah, you can see that. You'll
They got
see
children
like their
everywhere.
color, like their ethnicity, their eye color. The very basic
Baby
things.
picture, right?
Mm,
You got to
no.
pay for that?
You gotta pay for a baby picture.
Okay.
That's not just available.
Okay.
I'm even
It's
going
just-
to that business.
Right?
Right.
Very
Money.
basic
You set up
things
shop.
that you're supposed to have a whole kid with,
Wow.
So it's inevitable that you're gonna buy more information. But the thing is, once you buy more information for one person, and then you find something that you don't like, then you move on to the next person. You have to pay again for that much information for them.
Oh,
And
look.
so we're talking $300 to $600
Each
per
time.
donor. Looking into their background before you even decide that it's them, and then another $1,500 to $3,000 per vial of sperm.
That's crazy.
Eric, how much you charging?
Right.
How much you charging for your sperm?
But speaking of the process, it just seems like a really tedious, expensive process with going through the infertilization or
In vitro
IVF
or-
treatment. Yeah, but like
That's just IUD, it's a lot of.
But with you saying all of this, because my only experience with it is seeing what I've seen on TV. And I mean, they don't go as far into detail as you have gone, but they'll say like how much trouble it is, how much it, and sometimes it weighs heavily on relationships for the people in relationships, because sometimes one partner is like, I'm tired of dealing with this. We're putting out too much money. We're going into debt right now to have a child.
or it don't take.
Yeah.
It doesn't take.
And then that
That's a
and the
topic for
person.
another discussion.
Exactly.
When she goes like, it don't take, like, you
Do we
put
go
out
back to the
thousands of
process?
dollars.
That weighs heavily
Mentally,
emotionally on,
yeah.
on the person that's trying to get
It's
pregnant.
like a financial burden for one.
And it's not even just the financial. You have to think about what this person really went through mentally.
Mhm.
They have been getting injections in their stomach to, you know, have that fertility. They have been
Sacrificing.
going to the doctor weekly to check, you know, what the numbers are with their,
And
are you pregnant, are you
certain
not?
things. Because I'm like in this room, of course. You know, you have some of us who drink, some of us who smoke.
Ooh.
So you have to like stop all of that when you start trying to take those fertility drugs to get pregnant.
Mhm.
So you like the things
Like,
that
to go
calm you
without
down.
my wine for
You
this?
can't. Right.
And then it turn out that I ain't pregnant. Oh, baby.
That's what I'm saying.
It can make a
So
person
things
want to give
that,
up.
You know,
Yeah.
calm you down.
Or you start beating yourself up because you're like, well, what's wrong with me? And then that's
Yes.
another issue
Yeah.
because people start to find out that they have issues.
Yes.
You know, that to where or to be told because this is I've said in any of my relationships, I've told my partners, look, I'm not carrying the baby. And all y'all know, majority of my relationships have all pretty much been studs, stems, whatever. Ain't nothing wrong with your organs, boo. You can have the baby. Most of them have all been like, yeah, I'll do it. But the only way I'll tell them that I will have the baby is if we're trying and trying, and the doctor comes back and says you are not physically capable to carry a baby.
Mhm.
So if we've been trying, I would not be that selfish, and I would say, okay, look, if I'm capable,
Yes.
I'll carry.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
But
yeah.
going in, no.
Yeah.
We gonna put
I
you.
agree. 'Cause
If you want this baby,
Yeah, but those are things that you have to go through beforehand too. Because I have had my ovaries tested to see if they're viable. Like they're not at their last leg. We know that. Like it was plenty to go around, plenty of eggs for children to go around. So you have to go through those beforehand too. So it won't be a surprise, you know. It would be in your initial visits that you know, listen, your body is not up to date.
Girl, you did not have an expiration date.
You're a virgin.
Stamped on you. Oh
Okay,
my God.
let's change that. Not up to date, but it's just not the best option for us to start out with because you have to think about we're dumping thousands of dollars in to, you know, get you pregnant. If we test you and you look like, and I look like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then we need to go with the okay.
Yeah.
You know, like, and just try it there because we don't have any guarantees once we're dumping all that money in to get pregnant. And so we have to go with the best option that we see fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with, you know, the infertility, you know, IVS being so expensive and not a for sure guarantee that you have a child, with adoption, how do y'all feel about that and the laws in some states that keeps us from adopting children? Like specifically Texas.
I really think
Oh,
it's
it
some
does?
bullshit.
Oh yeah, Texas has this religious law that allows adoption agencies to deny a
Yes.
same-sex couple to adopt a child
They do.
based off religious views.
Yeah.
I guess I forget sometimes that these laws are extremely old, that they haven't changed. So I assume because a lot of adoption agencies are okay with it, but I forget that it is a law that if they wanted to deny you,
They can.
they can. And
And
so
it does happen. It does happen, especially in Texas. It does happen when you go to certain agencies. They will deny same-sex couples an adoption, and it's crazy to me because you know this child is going to sit in a foster home for more months when you have a viable couple here who shows the correct income, they show the correct credentials in order to take care of a child, but yet they say no.
Yep.
Which
But
makes
just
no
because
sense.
of what you are doing in your bedroom.
Yep.
that's
Yep. And
it's crazy to think to know that happens. To me, I guess I never.
It definitely does happen.
yes.
And people think that adoption is cheap. And it's
No.
Oh, no.
not.
It's expensive.
No.
On top of all the certifications and classes and all
And
these
it's
other
a
things you have to take.
long process.
It's a very long process.
You might
Yes.
as well go have your child.
Yeah, because you gotta have the home visits,
Yes.
all of these things.
And if you're, they gotta look into everything. If you are in a relationship, they gotta interview and look into
They
that.
They
gotta
gotta talk to
interview
your
you,
family,
your
they
partner.
wanna talk
They gotta
to-
interview your family.
Yeah.
Your friend- They gotta
Check
know
out your
what your
family
life
background.
is like.
They really have to
Exactly.
examine everything.
And that's kind of crazy to me when I think about it, because I think about some of the foster parents that I've known personally.
Yeah.
Like some of the family members that I know have fostered children that were not the type of people that should have been fostering no kids. And they were just collecting that check and just having these children with
In
these
their
different
homes.
disabilities just because they could collect that check. But then you have a stable home in a homosexual relationship and they won't allow you to have them.
So, this is kind of off topic, but when you said it, I just thought about it. How do you all feel? Would you all be foster parents?
I would be open to it.
I don't think I could because I wouldn't want to let them go.
That's awesome.
I
would do it.
Yeah.
I would do it, but I know I would get attached.
I
to
know
those
I would
children.
get attached.
But if you
and-
foster, you can eventually adopt, right? If you wanted to.
You
Yeah.
can't after so much time, and and then the thing about
The
foster
parent
kids,
has to be
Exactly.
deemed
Okay.
unfit,
Because-
like permanently.
sometimes as a foster parent, you're taking in children, like let's say a mother is on drugs, but they haven't taken the child from her,
Right.
but she's gone to jail. So while she's in jail,
or she's
maybe
in rehab.
or she's in rehab, so they need somewhere to put the child until they get out.
It's funny you say that. I have a friend. She had one biological child, and then they wanted to adopt or foster. And the lady had 8 kids, and she was a drug addict. So my friend adopted one of the boys, and then I'm like, well, she has 8 other kids. How do you feel about taking some of the other ones? So
Well-
she ended up taking 3 more boys. So she has 4. I'm sorry, 2 more of the boys.
Wow.
I've always said I
love
don't.
to keep families together.
Yeah, because I think about how it would be if me and my siblings were split. And I've always said I personally don't want a baby. I don't want a child under the age of like, if you can't get up in the morning and fix your own cereal, I
You don't have to
don't.
babysit mine, so you might as
Well, I don't mind like babysitting. That's different.
So I'm home,
saying-
you're done.
but yeah,
Because the babysitting, you can get them back.
Right.
yeah. But what I'm saying is, but I've always said if I went to adopt like a child that's the age 7 or above, and they had siblings or like a baby sibling, that would be the only way I would purposely adopt a baby,
And-
because I do not want to split up children.
And for her, one baby was
But
9 months
8.
old. The other baby was 9, 2, and 3. She adopted them all.
See, I knew of a lesbian couple when I first moved here. I met this girl, her and her girlfriend. It was a feminist stud. It was the stud's idea to foster the children. It was siblings, as you mentioned. I think it was like 3 of them.
Okay.
But in the end, it was toxic. It was just straight up toxic. You know what I'm saying? And so,
What
But
do you
also-
say toxic? Like what?
You mean like the relationship was toxic or the
The
relationship,
relationship
with
or
the
the
kids? Was toxic?
kids?
both, because in beginning it was the stud's idea. Like, hey, we should foster children, whatever. The film wasn't on, but she went ahead and did it. They did it. The film got attached to the children, and the stud kind of felt like that attention has been taken away from me. It has been given to the children, and so things happen, and eventually, the stud gave the film an ultimatum: either it's me or these kids.
Wow.
And it was her
And
idea.
it was her idea initially.
She got jealous.
She did.
Jealousy.
And
But you
so,
hear that a lot, like with
But you
men
have-
and women.
yeah.
I mean, with anybody. I mean, that there's a complete shift in the attention when you're having children.
So this may be a little off topic. Do y'all think it's easier for lesbian couples or gay couples to adopt?
I think it's about the same.
About the
I think
same?
it'll be, but I don't know because
I don't know, because
people
people-
look at two men.
And they think
Right.
the wrong thing.
Right, exactly.
They
That's
think
all
they
I'm
think the wrong.
I would
and
think lesbian couples.
I think it's more
easier.
easier for lesbian couples to adopt. And I mean, of course, we want to say it doesn't matter because we know none of us would ever in our life harm a child. but the heterosexual community feel like gay males
Yeah.
are more likely to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, it's reality, even though it's not true.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think it.
It's
Yeah.
the perception. It's
Yes.
not reality, but it's the perception that they get.
So, Eric, how do you feel about adopting? Do you want children, like you and your partner now? Do you think y'all would be open or no?
He says no.
Okay.
he does not want to adopt.
What if you were single? Would you?
If I was single, I would. And I'm kind of still trying to maybe convince him later, but I would, because I know that's something we're going to talk about later. There are so many black boys and girls who need to be adopted, and they're being overlooked about people because nobody wants to adopt a little black boy.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Which is bad, because I don't know why people avoid it, but yeah, there's so many kids out there who need good parents who are being looked over just because they're black.
Yeah.
So that brings me to this question: would you all adopt children of another race?
For me, I feel like, and this is just my honest opinion, I would prefer to adopt a black child because I can connect and relate to that child more of what they may be going through in life. I may not be able to connect what they have been through
Right.
as far as their life prior to me, but I feel like I can connect with them better than a child of a different race.
And I also feel like we are the ones that's in the system more.
Yes.
Right.
You know, that's
Yes.
left behind. We, the black
Women, children of color.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Color.
Yes. Children of color. Yeah, right. Period.
I mean, I feel like I would
Left behind.
adopt any kid, but
Yes.
my priority, and I hate
Yeah.
to say it that way, but I feel like I would go for the black child, especially
Yes.
black boys, because they're in the system forever.
They are.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't say forever, but for a long time.
Because they have
So,
that stigma
right.
for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I like Ashley, like you were saying, my honest opinion right now. If you would have asked me this in my 20s, I would have said, any child,
Yeah.
any race.
Yeah.
But considering where I'm at now and what I see in the world, I just think it's so important to love on our black children, to love
Yes.
on all children,
Yes.
but our young black children, I would only adopt.
Yeah, and like Eric mentioned and Roxy mentioned, like they're overlooked so much.
Yeah.
Like people don't want a black 16-year-old male
Right.
because let's be real, society looks at that male as a man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they do.
That would be you're taking on a lot of, if
Right.
you were to adopt a young black male, that's taking on some responsibility.
it is.
Yeah,
It
it
is. It is.
But
But
yeah,
I
people not
would
giving
say-
this person a chance
Yeah.
just because they're black or whatever.
Defining them before they get to know them.
That's true. But I will say that I do not have the preference to raise a child alone. I don't. And I think that that's the reason why I have pushed it back for years upon years. Is because my godson gives me a run for my fucking money. Like, he's only 3, but he is so smart. He's talking and he's doing the most. And I had him like from Wednesday to Sunday, and oh my God, I almost lost 3 lives. When can we meet? Because it's a lot. He talks so much and everything, so it's just like, it makes me second guess, like, are you really ready for this? Because by the time you have a kid, that'd be like 4 years down the line that he'll be this age, talking and being very interactive, like, and I just realized I can't do this by myself.
It's funny because
At this age, I cannot.
I had a situation, I guess it was maybe 2 weeks ago. I had my nephew one night, for Friday night. Perfect. He played Nintendo all night. He's 5. He played Nintendo. He wanted pizza. He wanted chips. He wanted pretzels. No problem. Saturday and Sunday, I got my nieces. 7 and
That's
10.
completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah.
On Friday, I was like, oh, I can do this. Saturday, hell no. Saturday, I can't do it. And maybe because there was 2 of them, but it was completely different. It's funny how kids are so
But
different.
girls, too.
You know, they would bicker with each other because one didn't want to play the other one. I was like, taking you home on Sunday. I'm done.
It is
I'm not even going to stop the car and beat y'all asses out and just keep going.
It is
you know?
different between boys and girls.
It's a
different.
pretty sensitive subject for me because I've always, and Roxy, I've always told you this, I'm okay with adopting. And I've always saw myself as a single parent. You know, I recently came out of a relationship, and I had gotten accustomed to the idea because we talked heavily in detail about raising a family. And so in my mind, I became accustomed to thinking that I was going to be raising a family with this person. So I saw myself having a family, like a 2-parent home, at least 2 children, and that's how I envisioned. And I was excited. Like, I got to a point that's what it was, and now I feel like I'm back in a space where, okay, this is why I was just always set with just adopting on my own.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like that's gonna be something hard. Even if I got into a relationship now, if they have that conversation with me, my response would probably be, I'm adopting children whether you want to or not.
Okay.
Like,
So
that's what I'm doing, because I don't know if this relationship is gonna last. So if I make the decision to adopt children, I'm doing it with or without that person, because if I want to have children, I'm not waiting for another failed relationship and then sit here and have to start my thought process over again.
So you adopt or without a partner. Roxy, you prefer to have a partner. Nikki, what about you? Do you, if you made the decision that you want a child, do you prefer to have a partner, or would you be okay with doing it as a single person?
I prefer to have a partner.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
No offense, it's a lot of work.
People can leave you,
And,
though.
you know,
And leave you
I
with
mean,
your
yeah.
kids.
but if she's asking for preference.
Yeah.
And my preference is to have a partner.
Yeah, people can leave, people can die. You can die. You know, it's just like,
My
It's
preference
always-
is to have it on my own, so I don't have to worry about.
I mean, you are having it. Well, I personally would be having it, so it's technically my child, because in same-sex relationships, the responsibility of a child is not passed over. Just like when a male signs a birth certificate, then that's their child. It's not the same thing when you're dealing with same-sex marriages or same-sex couples. They're not entitled to that child. You birthed that child, that's your child. And if they do not legally adopt that child, those are all your responsibilities, not the other person's.
Like Domo and Chrissy. Perfect example. You know Domo?
I know, but I don't know the situation, so.
Quick, very, 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 very quick synopsis. Domo, Stud, Chrissy filmed. They was together. Chrissy didn't want a child. Domo wanted a child. Domo had a child. And Chrissy connected. In the future, they split up. But Chrissy had developed a connection. But because
Chrissy cheated.
because Chrissy didn't legally adopt that child, she did not have rights to that child. She wanted it, but she failed to go through the process of adopting that child.
Did she have a tattoo or something?
Yeah, big ass tattoo. Of her arm.
Yeah.
So
and she
it's
don't get to
just-
see
it's-
him at all.
Yeah. And it's just the ugly truth of having a child in a lesbian relationship with one, where 2 people can have a biological child. If the other partner doesn't legally adopt that child, they have no rights. They have no say so if they split up.
Okay, so let me ask y'all this. Just throwing this out here. So pretty much I'm the only one whose preference is I don't have to have a partner. So with you all saying that you would prefer to have a partner. Well, Eric, did you say?
I didn't say.
He said his partner would not like to have
Yeah,
a
he
child.
said he wouldn't have one,
But
but
if he was single, he
yeah, I was thinking I'd do it on my own.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
wouldn't have a problem. I mean, it would be tough, but I would
Way
do it.
tough.
I would do
so
it.
let me ask y'all this. Let's say you decide to have a child, and at that time you're not in a relationship, you don't necessarily have a partner, but you have a connection with an ex, a friend or something, and they're like, well, and y'all have a conversation. Listen, and
We need video right now.
Stay focused.
We need some video right now because her face.
all y'all say,
Everybody.
if y'all can hear when I said the word ex, baby.
Everybody face just.
Everybody shakes.
But let me finish.
It sounds
Finish
like
the
so
question so I
No,
can read.
no. I'm saying if you you are, okay, I'll use myself for an example. If I'm single and my ex is still single, and we know in a relationship, we talked about having children, but now we're single, we realize we're not trying to be together, but would you be willing to co-parent with an ex if you're ready to have children? Let's say a lot of y'all cutoff age is way before 40. So let's say you 37, 38, I'm 39. So if you're that age and you're like, I want to have a child, and your ex is on board, would you be willing to co-parent and y'all start a family?
That's deep.
And y'all not y'all understand, y'all not trying to be together. All y'all know is co-parent.
I think that I can do that with a friend more so than an ex.
Right.
An
ex
ex
for
or a
a
friend.
reason. They're ex for
With
a reason.
a friend, yes, but with an ex, I don't see that working out for me, because eventually we will start dating other people, and that focus will not be the child, it would be their other relationships. And then now I got to deal with you motherfuckers. And then they got to deal with the fact that I brought somebody back into my life. And so, do you trust my person around a child? Do I trust your person around a child? What do they feel like? What do they treat my child like under, no supervision? You leaving my child with them. I just would prefer not to deal with that. With a best friend or a friend of mine, I feel like, okay, bitch, you know what it is.
Yeah.
So don't you have nobody.
See, I think that goes deep into thinking like the morals and values of the person you want. And I know a lot of heterosexual couples don't think this deep, but I feel like when you decide to have a child with somebody, you need to look. Reality is y'all may not be together forever. That's the reality. So and so you should think about their morals and values and integrity as a person. Yeah. Even when they're upset, even when they're sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do they act, or how do they treat that waiter? How do they treat, the people that most people look down on and degrade? Like, if you are a good person, like, I feel like you would be a good parent. I don't know if that answers the question, but
no, it does. I don't know if it's the liquor, but I'm just getting all emotional with this shit.
I'm about to get pregnant tomorrow.
Because I do want children, but I don't know. Just this. Okay. Moving on.
I was gonna say, all I know is I know my exes, and there's no way. I've
heard stories.
You've heard stories,
and there's no way.
Yeah,
I think there are two exes. Well, one in particular that I know I would.
So let's say y'all co-parent. Let's say y'all met a family.
I definitely feel like I can co-parent with some exes, but at the same time, do I want to deal with your mother?
Right.
I don't think it'll be the child. I just think that it'll be more so with dealing with them. I don't want to deal with your ass.
I don't know.
Just let my sister and my niece take care of them. I don't know.
So for everybody that wants a kid and you meet a partner, y'all get married, do you want to have a child immediately after getting married, or do you want to enjoy each other for a minute and then start a family?
I would want to enjoy my marriage.
I guess it depends on
I
how
would want
long
to enjoy my marriage, but at this age, I don't think that's possible.
No, we need to, in our dating, we better take a few trips because it's time. These ovaries ain't getting no younger, and I gotta get that child in there. Like, we got.
You can freeze your eggs, though, right? You can freeze your eggs.
Ain't no freezing of no eggs. That's even more money. When we talk about freezing eggs and insert them, and that's even more. It's even more money. And so no. So what we can do is have this child, leave it with my niece for the weekend to go to Cabo.
She's a designated babysitter.
And she know it too.
She knows because she's pressing me like, TT, listen, if you don't have one next year, you need to just stop. I was like, what? I'm not even that old. She's just like, yeah. I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna have twins and I need you to move in. She's like, what now? Now, don't be talking about no what now.
Roxy always throwing that out. She even threw that out to me. Look, if I have twins, I'm
Baby,
like,
I ain't gonna be able to do it by myself.
Roxy is gonna be the kind of person she need the whole village. Everybody, hands on
And when
deck.
I say village, she mean village.
She means
And I mean,
we used to work together in 19. Okay, can you babysit tonight?
all hands on deck. So when are you available?
What you mean we
When are
can't
you available?
babysit?
What you mean?
Are we
This is your godchild. This is your niece. I'm getting off the phone with you. The baby, we on our way, okay?
I be talking to my sister like, listen, I know you off. We on our way.
I pull up. She's standing at the door
With the car seat.
So, no, she won't even. She'll be in the house because I'm sure she gonna already have a kid.
Yeah.
So, okay, what if you meet somebody that already have kids? Would you still want to have additional kids on top of the kids they already have?
It depends on how many kids they have, honestly.
If
And
they got
also,
about 2 or 3 weeks straight.
What's the age? The age matter?
yeah, it does.
Oh,
I feel like
Definitely.
age matters
That does.
because are you looking at a babysitter? Like, are you looking at like
Daycare.
Daycare.
I
Like,
The
you know,
cost of daycare.
I prefer
And
to,
let's
if
be
I
real.
date women with children, I prefer to date women with older children.
And let's be real, it's a lot of lesbian. You get with a lesbian, she be like, yeah, but this person I was with previously is
Oh
still
no, ma'am. No, I've done that. No, nope.
Oh, I definitely have dealt with that. Like, I even had an ex to where they even named the child after her. Like, it was not her kid.
What?
This person was married when not married, but pregnant when they got together, and they didn't know. But, after 3 weeks, they knew, like, she's pregnant. So the child came out. She named the child after her and everything.
Wow.
And this motherfucker would call with a 2-month-old baby talking about they want to talk to you. Are you fucking kidding me? 2 months? No ma'am. You can shut that down. I know you named him after her and everything, but she has no ties to this child or you, so I need you to stop calling. It took a while for her to accept that though.
okay, this is my
she was
question
connected.
today. How old was the child when they stopped talking?
A newborn. The baby wasn't even born when I came on the scene.
And they still named the
okay.
child after her?
Yes. Well,
Okay, that's a little different.
let's just say this.
Go ahead and have a drink to that, and then tell us the story.
Woo! Okay, so the scene wasn't pretty. Okay, we were both dealing with people. She was dealing with the person that was pregnant. I was dealing with the guy at the time.
Okay.
And so, when I came onto the scene, and then I'm just like, this whole situation, this is no. And so it went on for years, actually.
What? So how did you? Okay, so real question. How did you deal with, assisting with raising that child, and the ex also playing a role in that child's life?
What I'm saying is that it was a no-go. It was a no-go for me for a 2-month-old to be calling her talking about she want to talk. Like, no, that was crazy to me. And that relationship ended.
Okay.
With them and the child, even though the child was named after her and everything, it had to go.
What? Okay, this is my question. My question is, what about dealing with somebody who has an older child?
Okay, so that's completely different.
Okay.
That's completely different. If she had an older child, like for me, my preference in age would be below the teenage years, because teenagers are ruthless.
Yes, very
and I know that
judgmental.
because I have teenagers. My sister has teenagers that I'm very close to, and they're just different, in dealing with them and getting them on the same page.
Yep.
They have opinions. They talk back. You want to slap them in the mouth, you do slap them in the mouth, things like that. So you don't, for me, I would prefer if I dated someone that their children are below that age or above, like 18, get your ass out age.
Eric, have you ever dated a guy with kids?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
the guys I dated in the past could barely take care of themselves.
They're not listening.
Okay.
No, I take it back. I take it back. I lie. I did one time before.
I had a situation where I did date someone that had a child, but they didn't have a child. They dated a girl prior that had a child, but they didn't tell me, and they were still quote unquote co-parenting.
Oh.
Well, I ended up finding out because I thought she was cheating. Because I would always catch her like getting off the phone. It was this certain girl that was always calling, and finally she sat down and told me, and she was like, "Well, my ex-girlfriend, you know, she had just had a baby around the time that we hooked up, and so I've always been in a child's life, so that's my child." And I was like, "That's not your child. You did not nut in her. That is not your child." Because it's the truth, and I was pissed off because I was like, number one, you hid it from me. That's something you tell somebody when y'all talking, and I was like, now you're looking at me, telling me that you expect me to accept this when one, you hid it from me,
You shouldn't have hid it.
and the way that I found out. And now this girl I was like, you have put me and this girl against each other because she's thinking I have a problem with you taking care of the child that you've always been helping her take care of, when I have a problem with the fact that you hid it.
You lied.
Yeah.
And now I'm expected by both of y'all to just accept it when it was never presented to me.
Yeah,
So,
because I may not have continued this situation if I had known. You didn't give me any option.
right. And I was like, she's always calling you. She's always calling you. And she's like, well, it's for the child. I don't know that.
That's what I was like, because she was always calling her too, and I was just like, damn, how many more Pampers do you fucking need?
At 11 o'clock at night, what is this baby? What is the child's bedtime? Why
The baby
in the bed?
don't want to talk at this hour.
So
I know that.
you reminded me of something. I said I didn't date anybody with a kid, but I did. And his kid, I think she was, let's say 2.
Yeah.
But the ex-wife didn't know that supposedly didn't know that he was gay.
Oh.
So if the kid was over there, I couldn't go over there. We couldn't take pictures together. We couldn't do certain things together because he didn't want the ex-wife to find out what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
This.
That's a
So-
lie.
How does that make you feel?
It was bad. I mean, I try to be very understanding because I'm like,
Everybody has different situations.
everybody has different situations,
Right.
and I was trying to be understanding because he was supposedly newly gay, but we broke up because he clearly was not really gay. He had been gay.
He just
gay?
didn't want to come out.
Right. No, he just been gay with everybody in town. But
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Wow.
but it was a hard situation for us because I'm like, is it gonna always be like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
You know.
question.
So,
So-
it's tough.
Last topic, last question. Does religion play a factor in raising a family?
For me, yes.
It definitely has some bearings, especially if someone is completely religious and you aren't,
Right.
and vice versa. You know, it definitely has some bearings, but for me, it does. Like, I don't want to raise them atheists.
Right. I was about to say that.
So they don't have to necessarily be the same religion,
Yes,
like a
for me.
Christianity or Muslim, whatever.
I
But
want them to
For me,
believe
they
in
have a
higher
belief.
power.
no, so your partner has to be a
Spirituality.
Christian.
We have to be on the same page, yes.
That's interesting.
Because
That is
how
interesting.
am I gonna then we're gonna have to sit down and decide how
If they
are we
going to
how are we
church.
gonna
What
raise
service
a child.
we're going to?
But are you raising them based
we
off the
celebrating this?
biblical teachings?
Well, I wasn't.
Or
I
are
mean, ultimately, I guess I was. But I mean, I'm not like, I don't go to church every single Sunday. You know what I'm saying? But I have a strong relationship with God. That's the way my grandmother taught me, is to make sure you have a relationship with God. So we have to be on that same page. So what I'm saying is, like, if you're Muslim, I can have friends and know people that are, but I'm not. I want to raise, because I'm like, how are we gonna do that? Because if you're Muslim, they have strong beliefs and, you know, ways that you have to follow. So what are we? So if you're teaching a child one thing and they're seeing me do another, I just don't see. I would
Yes.
prefer. I'm saying
You
I
have
would
certain
prefer.
religions
No,
that
but
don't celebrate birthdays, that don't celebrate holidays.
Holidays and stuff
Yeah,
like
All
that.
you do is really just, you basically live.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yes.
But what if you meet somebody that
Big for
they're
me.
not a Christian, but they believe in God, but they don't believe in the typical traditional, you know what I'm saying, teachings of the Bible, which is, let's be real, one of them big is homosexuality. Like, you teach your child, like do you feel like they have to be?
All the thing I want you to do is build a strong relationship of your own. That's how I was taught. You build a relationship.
Spirituality.
Yes. You build a relationship with God. And sometimes people are not going to understand what God tells you to do, the path that he puts you on. Everybody ain't going to understand it. That's where I'm at with it.
Mm-hmm.
Build that relationship. I will, push for my children to go to church and everything, but I want them to understand that outside of church and these teachings, your relationship, make sure you build that relationship with him so that you can hear him when he speaks to you. Because what he tells you, sometimes what he tells you is not, I'm going to go against it. Even as your mother, you know what I'm saying? So so if I have a partner and we're on the same page as that. But what I'm saying is, like, if you have like the Nation of Islam, or, like Jewish, it's certain things certain teachings that they, stick to. And
not to say any of that is wrong.
No,
but we're just saying that it's different.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, for our listeners, we're just saying that different religions have different teachings.
Yes.
And so you're basically, out of what you're saying is, you want your child to grow. You rather raise a child with a partner that you guys have the same teachings.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Not to say any religion is wrong.
Yes, that's what I meant with it.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, for anybody else?
Yeah. Are y'all religious? Would you like your child to grow up with the same beliefs?
That's a touchy one for me.
I grew up Southern Baptist,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and that's a little much for
It
me. Like,
Even for me. So I don't know if I can push that to a child.
now
but
that I'm older, I go to another church out here in Texas, and I would say they don't have a denomination, do it?
Some are non-denominational. Some churches are.
They don't specifically say it.
They don't say it, but they
But I think they preach more so
definitely
towards
are more open. I think that a lot of these more mega churches, they kind of tiptoe.
Yeah, they kind of
They
toe the
do.
line.
That sexuality
They
part,
do.
Because they toe the line.
they know what their congregation is made of,
Yes.
and they don't want so much of the tithes running out the door. I'm just
Right.
gonna be honest.
And that's where I guess, like,
understand.
actually, like, I'm glad you pointed that out for me. It was like, it's not about religion, it's spirituality.
It's
And, like,
spirituality,
my
yeah.
biggest thing is just your connection with a higher power, and we share, and as long as we're sharing the same morals and values and things like that, then I'm okay. But, like, all I'm saying is we just have to be connected, because if my partner is saying, oh, well, the children need to wear skirts all the time, I can't force that on my child, and I'm not wearing skirts all the time. You know what I'm saying? So now we're battling with each other, and the child is seeing this, and they're like, well, damn, I don't want no parts of none of this shit. I'm going to just go out here, you know what I'm saying?
They're going to look at it's religion being conflict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I just want us to be on one accord with the spirituality in our home. And I will also now don't get me wrong, to our listeners, I will also respect my child as they grow, that if they seek other avenues, for spirituality, by all means, do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Long as it's nothing that's harming you or, changing your heart, your values, morals, I'm good.
Yeah. So ultimately, I guess everybody feel like could anybody at the table date somebody of a different belief? Anybody?
I feel like, yeah.
You could?
I feel like
It depends on the belief.
I don't know.
I feel like it depends on the belief.
I don't know that I could, because I'm thinking on separate spectrums. Like me having a high power God and they're atheists.
I couldn't do that.
Like, you don't believe in shit. I don't know that I could.
Okay, I would say that it depends on the belief.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I think
my
it
thing.
depends.
It depends on the belief.
solely on the belief. And so I think we have to line up somewhere in the middle, because when you think about bringing children into something, you have to have a baseline and you have to communicate that to the child.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to be bumping heads, that's not going to work.
Not at all.
Okay.
Well, I think we all had a good conversation. I'm sure our listeners out there, you all probably have a lot more else to say.
Y'all want to rip us a new one? Okay.
Yo, feel free. Hey, hit us up on our email, Instagram. We're very open-minded and we're very open to different perspectives.
Yes. So whenever you all listen to us, I hope you all do catch that vibe that we're just speaking on, like how we are in relationships. And thank God for a lot of you all. Y'all ain't got to date us. But of course, we want to hear more from you. If there's anything that you disagree with, we would love to hear. We're always open to different opinions, comments, thoughts, concerns. If you're listening to us and be like, baby, I'm worried about you, just let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah, so you can hit us up on Instagram at LEZHAVECOCKTAILS. Our email address is LET'sHaveCocktails@gmail.com. Also, when you listen to us on our different streaming networks, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, be sure to like, follow, comment, and share. If you get a chance, please leave us a review. Let us know what you're thinking. And if you just want to reach out on Instagram, that's the main place you can always find us.
Yeah.
If you follow any of our main pages, hit us up. And so with that being said, if anybody has nothing else to say, and so please forgive me. We have to thank our host, Eric, for joining in on the conversation.
Thank you for coming.
Eric, you were wonderful.
We appreciate you.
Would you come back?
Oh yeah, of course. Anytime.
It's a special guest.
So we welcome, we'll let you know like what our topics are. Anytime you want to come back, just hit us up.
Sounds good.
And with that being said, I finished all of my drinks. So.
Oh my God.
But if I had a drink,
I do want a drink today.
I'll drink today. And we'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you.